Welcome to the Empowering Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Dwyer, and again, I am blessed with the presence of Miss Onita Simpson. Now, she put a V in there for us, so I want to know what the V stands for, so I'm going to ask in a second. But I want to kind of bring you up to where we are. So if you have not listened to our previous recording that we did before, please go back and listen to it, because I think that recording will bless every person, male, female, even a person who is not married, who is without child. Go listen to that recording, because there's a lot of great information in it that leads up to where we are right now. So here we are again, and we're back to have a second go around. I was just joking with her previously because I called her a professional now that we've already had an episode under our belt. So Anita, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, and I thank you for allowing us to jump in, because she's traveling right now. Again, this just goes after who she is and her, her character. Like, she fit us into her busy schedule, so I want to make sure that I honor her time. And we're going to talk about some great and wonderful things that she was just recently celebrating here later. So here we are, post our previous conversation. Now, I don't want to spoil it. I want you to kind of just put out there, when I presented it to you about what we're going to talk about going forward, and for those who are listening, I want you guys to understand this is going to be a consistent thing with her and I. We're going to get together once a month so that we can talk and have these empowering conversations. And I believe these conversations, just like the first one, is going to continue to bless you. So share with us, like, what your response was when I kind of put it in your hands and say, hey, I want to do this every month. And what do you think we need to talk about?
Well, first off, I was like, yes, let's do this. And second, I believe that just like your podcast says, empowering perspective, that if we are communicating with each other, male and female, that we can kind of buffer out some of these issues that we're having, because communication is the issue. And if we aren't communicating properly, then you're going to be frustrated. So why not get to the ground of it? Ask the questions that need to be asked from a male and female perspective, from a mother and a father's perspective, so that way we can spread the information and hopefully change somebody else's mindset. So absolutely. I was all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And for just like she was, so was I. Because again, I believe that there's so much false information that is permeating the airways these days. And I'm new to TikTok, just putting it out there. And so I'm dabbling in the TikTok space, and I find myself watching more than I'm contributing, right? So I got to change that. And so I'm starting to put more stuff out there. So I put you out there a few minutes ago, just so that you know. But I'm participating in the TikTok space, and I'm seeing a lot of information that's going back and forth, and it's alarming. Not talking about one person in particular, but it's alarming, the conglomerate of information that is faulty, and it's participating into the anxiety that most people are experiencing, because they're stuck in this gray space. I don't know, should I go left? Should I go right? Like, what should I do? How can I be a better person? How can I do better for my people, my family, my friends? What does my next relationship look like? Am I still in the space of manipulation? So it was great when you said that this is what we wanted to talk about, because I'm on board with it. And as you know, we participate in similar spaces. So I think that this conversation, again, is geared toward helping people, empowering people, and then with the information, they are free to do whatever it is that they feel they need to do. Now, right. I'm going to do it different, because most people are accustomed to me asking questions. So I'm going to sit back, and I am going to allow you to hit me with a question. Just whatever question you got, I'm open for it.
Okay. First, I am excited. This is my first time, so bear with me.
Yeah, so you're the host.
But so I would like to know, you say you were a single father. I'm sorry. And I know there was issues probably in that separation between you, your child or children, and your ex-spouse. So my question is, do you believe you had a say in how your children were raised, even though you didn't live in the same household?
Wow. So that is a phenomenal question. And there's so much packed into there. I think just to answer the question wouldn't do that question value. I think it's some things that need to lead up to it, first of all. So I was married for 14 years, and during that time frame, I was in the Army. So when I got married, I will be honest with you, I didn't know the first thing about marriage. Just being completely transparent. And I think that's the space to where a lot of people find themselves. They're completely clueless. And when I say clueless, I mean from a personal responsibility perspective. Not me telling her what to do or how to do it or whatever the case may be. And we'll kind of touch on that a little later. But I was clueless in what marriage was all about. However, what I view for myself when it came to marriage was making sure that the lights stayed on, making sure that the mortgage got paid, making sure that I provide, protect, and prayer. Those were the three things that I knew. And again, provision and protection was easy for me. Prayer was a little bit challenging because I really wasn't, and in my opinion, and I have to say it that way, I don't think I was very good at praying, but it didn't stop me from praying. So I prayed within the scope of my own understanding. Now, can I say within myself that I did everything right as a father and as a man? Absolutely not. I don't think there's any man that can ever say that and just be 100% honest and transparent. Moving forward, when the relationship didn't work out, there was obviously some trauma that my children experienced. It's separation. Mm-hmm. And most of us don't view that as separation. They view it like, yeah, I divorced the mother, but I didn't divorce the child. Well, it's not that simple. You got to realize that the children are adapting to a new environment. They're adapting to life without dad. They're adapting to, understanding how to maneuver that space. Now, also within that, when it came down to the marriage, there were the combination of two tribes coming together. So you have the tribe on this side that believes in this thing, that thing, or the other, and then the tribe on this side which believes in this thing, that thing, or the other. So the father has his tribe, the mother has their tribe, and when they come together, they're bonding tribes. And so now they got to figure out which teachings we're going to bring into the household. I believe, in my opinion, that's where I failed, because there were some things that were important in my upbringing. Respect was the most important thing that I believe my mother did a very good job at teaching. And I believe in saying yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
Right.
Moving forward, that tribe didn't necessarily believe that. You see what I'm saying? So you can understand how that dynamic works. Yeah, that dynamic was not working. It was a lot of friction there. And so in my absence, we're not going to focus on that. In my presence, we're going to focus on that. So now you're seeing the children is like, we're playing double dutch right now. Which side am I going to be on? And so fortunately, or unfortunately, Daddy had to deploy a lot. So Daddy was going, especially starting in doing the OIF-1. So 2003, from 2003 to 2012, I averaged being home 1 year and being gone another year. So now you can, now you can see where this friction is getting exacerbated. So when going back to your question, do I feel I had a say so in the way my children were raised after the separation? Absolutely not. Because it was a lot of difficulties that presented itself in the relationship to where a lot of the things that I was saying then was kind of brushed aside in my absence, to where I would have felt empowered, if you will, that if we came together and decided what the household rules would be, is respect the most important thing? Yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, right? Cleaning the house, is that important? Should they clean up their room, or should you have to force them to clean up? Stuff like that. Or do we just allow them to do whatever? Are good grades important when it comes down to children? In my opinion, yes. So it was a number of different things. And so these things that I'm expressing to you, these are the things that I believe in. I believe in respect, I believe in cleanliness, and I believe in doing the best that you can in school, because that sets the condition for what happens after school. Well, those were huge friction points for us. And then when you start getting into the special relationships, so fathers have special relationships with their daughter. Not that they don't have special relationship with their sons, but they're different. A daughter's, the relationship between father and daughter, that's her first experience of a relationship with someone of the opposite sex. So we cannot take that relationship lightly. Well, I was shocked once because my daughter had a thing. She used to come and sit on my lap and lay her head on my shoulder, and I embraced it. I don't know if you ever remember the movie Eve's Bayou. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a lot like that. Like, me and my daughters have fun together. And then when my son came along, he joined into the fun. But one day I was hit with a question that just kind of rocked me a little bit. And it was almost as though there was a sense of uneasiness with the relationship that we had. And I was like, no man ever wants to be accused of that. So it made me take a step back, right? But I didn't realize, that being said, I didn't realize how much that was going to affect my daughter moving forward. So long story, and I apologize for being long-winded, but again, it was a great question. Yeah, it was a great question. But to answer your question straight up, no, I don't believe I had that say-so that is necessary so that the child can understand that we are a parenting team. I do not.
And it was something that you said that we actually touched on the first time that I was on the show, where you said you didn't feel empowered while you were in the house. So once you weren't, these things were exacerbated. And something that I said was, we decided as a team, as a household, this is how we would raise them. And even though we got a divorce, I continued to raise them that way. Yeah. So there was no, if we are a team, the household has decided this is how we're to raise them. It doesn't matter if one is present or not. This is what we've decided. So it seems as if, okay, it's okay if I'm here in your face, but if I'm not, anything goes. Well, that's not proper parenting. You're switching sides. Absolutely. And it does confuse the children, because at one point, well, when dad's here, we have to do this. But he's not here, we can do whatever we want. No, respect is respect, whether I'm present or absent. It's the same thing about love. Love me even when I'm not in your face. Respect me when I'm not in your face. So it shouldn't matter if you're deployed or in the next room. Mm-hmm. What we decided as a household goes, period. Yeah. So absolutely. When you said that, it just reminded me, we did talk about that.
Yeah, we did. And I'm glad you said what you said, because you're right. Like, we view love differently. Like, if I buy you a bouquet of flowers, that means something. You buy me a bouquet of flowers, I'm going to look at you crazy. Like, really? What is this going to do for me? So love to you means one thing, but to me, it means something totally different. The overarching idea of love comes from one place, the source of love itself. The Bible tells us that God is love, so we need to go to him to understand what love really is. Well, here's the deal. For me, if you wanted to express love to me, then there has to be some sort of understanding within the household that says that, hey, I'm committed to this person. When it gets to the point to where any man feels like they have to, how can I say it? I don't, because I'm totally against I'm the man of the household, pound the table. Now, I'm totally against that. But if the child disrespects you, you won't ever have to ask me to come to your rescue. I am on the way. There's some TikTok videos that came out, and it was so funny to me because I agree with that 100%. And it was intentional disrespect by the child to the parent, to the mother, when she said something, and the response was the dad did not say anything. He was getting up and on the way to engage. That's me. Like, I do not settle. I will not accept that. And again, respect is the most important thing, right? So for me, that's what it looks like. So you don't have to ask me to come to your rescue. I am on the way, knight in shining armor, sword and all. On the other hand, it kind of goes without saying that if a child would disrespect your father, disrespect their father, mama jumps in immediately. No questions asked. Well, yeah, that didn't necessarily exist in my... I was like, wait, hold on. Why was that okay? Why is it, why do we have the idea a child does something, whether it's showing off at school, whether it's acting up in the house, whatever, wait till your dad come home. No. Don't wait till your dad come home. Engage and fix it now. Then tell daddy about it when he gets home, right? And then daddy can ask you the question, well, what was your response? And so now it's different, because when dad go in and talk, it's 100% on board with the reaction that you had. And we do not compete when it comes to that. If you decide you want to fix it one way and I think it was wrong, I'm not going to tell you that it's wrong in front of them. We'll get behind closed doors and I will ask a question. So do you think you kind of handled that the right way? Then we'll have a conversation. I'm not challenging you. I just want to understand what it is that you were thinking at that particular point in time. And then ask you, well, what is the outcome that you were looking for? And so now there is never any question in the child's mind, who's the team? The team is always
And
mom and
see,
daddy.
what comes up for me when you said that, you have to show a united and fortified front.
Absolutely.
It's not going to change. It doesn't matter who was home and who wasn't.
Right.
They already know what it is. So if we can't be united and fortified, if you aren't here and hey, this is what happened when you weren't here, it's not a let me go coddle them. Well,
Right.
no, 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 no. That's demeaning.
Right.
That's demeaning the other parent's authority. And the
Absolutely.
child begins to know who they can play and who not to play.
Right. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I want to stress that when I go to the child afterwards, I'm not siding with the child. I'm siding with mama. But I want to make sure that you understand the reason why she responded the way she did, because you were in error. And I agree with her.
Right.
So now how do you fix it going forward? So this is how the team works well together, right? There is both parents are enforcers. Let's not, and again, that's one of the antiquated ways of thinking that was brought forward. Wait till your father come home. Wait till your father come home. Wait till your father come home. I don't want to deal with that when I get home. I will deal with these people all day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want us to have conversation when I come home. I don't want to have to leave one work and come back to another form of work. No, I want to come back to a form of peace. That was number 2 for me. Peace became the most important thing that was important for me. I know it's kind of said the same word twice, right? So that was important to me. As I started to understand better, I started to perform better. But then from that point, I tried to have conversation because like I said, it's a team. Because I want you to understand that peace is important for you as well, or should be important for you. And together, the team should present a peaceful environment. There's an idea that people like to use, we're going to be together come hell or high water. And I agree with that 100%, as long as you aren't hell. If you are hell, then I'm taking a high road. I'm taking a high water and I'm gone.
Right.
I'm just being honest.
I like
right?
that. I like that.
We can be together come hell or high water as long as you aren't presenting hell. Once you present hell, you're disturbing my peace, and my peace is a representation of the relationship that I have with my father. And because you're interrupting my ability to communicate with him, I got to go. And
That's right.
I think that's a way of looking at it. So I mean, man, this question that you asked, it just, you know what I'm saying?
We can keep going on.
Yeah, I can go on and on